Hi and welcome. I'm trying to learn Biographyology. Today Anne. She is the grandmother of Jesus or something. I haven't read it. And after that we're going to do median plane training. And if you participate in the median plane training, then is it at your own risk. Anne, 1st century. The feast day is July 26th. So that is the feast day. That is the celebration day. Something like that. I don't really know what it means, so we're just starting to read it. Feast day is 26th July. And the symbols in art is the lily and holding infant Mary. Okay, here's a statue, above a 15th century French marble statue of Saint Anne. Okay, Saint Anne, this is the person, of Saint Anne holding the infant Mary. Okay, I'm going to show you what is here on the statue. There is Anne, and that is Mary. And, okay, let's see, the 26th July, and the signs the lily and holding the infant Mary. Yes, there's the infant Mary, hold it by Anne. Patronage, that's really small. Patronage, housewives, childless couples, pregnancy, women in labor, grandparents, and cabinet makers, and Canada. Okay, Saint Anne is the patronage of housewives, and childless couples, and pregnancy, women in labor, and grandparents, and cabinet makers. Are these wardrobes, and also of Canada. Paintings on uppercase, not paintings. Bondon Giotto, the Annunciation to Saint Anne and Meeting at the Golden Gate. Dürer, Albrecht, Saint Anne with the Virgin and Child. Okay, paintings. Okay, we're going to say there existing some paintings. Giotto di Bondone has made a painting called Annunciation of Saint Anne, and also another painting, Meeting at the Golden Gate. And Albrecht Dürer has made a painting called Saint Anne with the Virgin and Child. Now I'm going to stop. Sorry, let's test you again. That is a French 15th century marble statue. Because I don't have these two free paintings here. Profile. Mother of a Virgin Mary. That is what I meant here. By Joseph is written, foster father of Christ and husband to Virgin Mary. Okay, profile. Mother of a Virgin Mary is written. Okay, all that is known of Anne, the grandmother of Jesus, is derived from a 2nd century apocryphal book of James, brother of Jesus, which professes to reveal matters leading up to the birth of the Virgin Mary. Okay, all that is today known of Anne is known from this book called Book of James. And that is about the matters leading up to the birth of the Virgin Mary. According to this account, so according to the book of James, Anne was married to Joachim, a member of a respectable priestly class of Levites. Okay, there's the class of the Levites, and now there was someone called Joachim, and he married Anne. Their relationship was in every way virtuous and happy, except that they remained childless. Okay, they had a happy and virtuous relationship, that's the other happy thing, but they had no children. Bearing in mind that the principal purpose of Jewish marriage in ancient Palestine was to bear children, and that not to do so implied divine displeasure, there was considerable social stigma attached to their barrenness, I don't know what barrenness means, which lasted 20 years. Okay. It was by the society strongly seen that people should have children, and no, they had no children. And this social stigma attached to their barrenness lasted for 20 years. A high priest, for instance, is said to have refused to accept Joachim's generous offering at the temple on account of his unworthiness. Okay, Joachim made a generous offering at the temple, and the high priest was refusing it because it was seen that because we had a social stigma, because we had no children. when suddenly each partner received an angelic visitation promising the birth of a daughter. Okay, Joachim and Saint Anne got, according to Book of James, a visit by an angelic, what was it not written? Got an angelic visitation, and it promised them the birth of a daughter. On hearing the news and convinced of its truth, Anne rushed to see her husband and embraced him at the golden gate of... this is the painting. Here, the painting. Meeting at the golden gate. This was... Meeting at the golden gate. No, okay. Anne was... Where was it now? On hearing the news and convinced of its truth, Anne rushed to see her husband and embraced him at the golden gate of Jerusalem. Okay, somewhere Jerusalem has a golden gate, and there she rushed to Joachim, and there they met him and wanted to tell them of happy news. Where is it now? Okay. Any misgivings there may have been about God's favor of this couple were dispelled instantly. So that the society thought that this couple did not have God's favor were dispelled because now they were expecting a child. They vowed to give the expected child to God and accordingly handed over their precious daughter to the temple priests when she was 3 years old, never to see her again. Okay, they seem to be thankful that they got a child, and now they vowed to give the child to God, and now they gave them over when Mary was 3 years old, she to the temple priests, and they, in knowing that they would never see her again. The tradition of Anne's virtuousness grew to a level consistent with her daughter's immaculate conception, and that is the doctrine that Mary was born without the taint of original sin. Let's read it again. The tradition of Anne's virtuousness. Okay, but Anne was virtuous. Grew to a level consistent with her daughter's immaculate conception. Okay, Anne's virtuousness is as high as Mary's or something like that. And that has something to do with the immaculate conception. I don't know what it means, but here's a little explanation. And that is the doctrine that Mary was born without the taint of original sin. And so Mary was born without original sin because... Okay, whatever. Maybe we're going to explain something else, but we're here for Anne. So, okay. As the 7th century bishop Saint John Damascene said of Anne and Joachim, okay, now quote, "By which chaste and holy life you led together, you have fashioned a jewel of virginity." As though, okay, this is a quote. "By the chaste and holy life you led together, you have fashioned a jewel of virginity." Okay, there is a quote now from Jane Damascus, and he praised the couple. As though perhaps their 20 long years of waiting was but a preparation for giving birth to a daughter nobler than the angels, whose queen she now is. Okay, and he adds then in this quote that as it would be, as if that would be as a preparation to get a virtuous child, a daughter nobler than the angels, whose queen she now is. Now here's now a star, an exposition of the Orthodox faith, book 4. By later medieval times, there was a good deal of interest in the cult of Anne, and many churches were dedicated to her. Okay, in the medieval times, there were many churches built in honor or dedication to her. In art, she is sometimes depicted teaching her daughter to read, and frequently appears... That's actually interesting. To read, and frequently appears in cycles of the life of a virgin. Okay, if people are depicting Anne, they are sometimes doing that by showing her how she is teaching reading to her daughter, and she's sometimes also mentioned if it's talked to. Okay, I don't know. If it's talked to life, appears in cycles of the life of a virgin. Her cult flourished particularly in Brittany, northern France, where it replaced the worship of the pagan mother goddess Nana. Okay, there was someone, Nana, who was also a mother goddess. Here, Anne was for housewives, childless people, pregnancy, women in labor, grandparents, cabinet makers, and carer. And now in Britannia, which seems to be a region in northern France, so not Britain, but Britannia, there she's also, where there's a great flourishing cult about her. So maybe many churches. Now it was Anne. What was A? Now, if you were here for biographyology, maybe we're going to do it somewhere else. Biographyology, Saint Anne, then you can go directly to the next part of biographyology, where we will do maybe a Minerva, but I have still to make a decision, or Joel. That means if you were here for biographyology, go to the next part of biographyology. If you stay when we're doing the medium plane tuning, and if you participate when it's with the armrest. We're bringing one leg and we're pointing with our foot down. And bring the foot up and down. And now we have our leg up, the foot down and up. And let's do a similar exercise. Leg up and circle the foot. And into the other direction. And the other foot up and circle it. And in the other direction. And now one leg up, right angle of the leg, flex foot, even line tips tall off of the back, and we're pressing from the top against the knee. Have a little bend in the elbow. And the other leg up, and press on the top against the knee. And the other leg, again up. And I'm pressing on the inside. Same setup. Riding the leg flex foot, even when it's tall off the back, little bend in the elbow. And again, the other leg up. And pressing it on the inside. And the next exercise, leg up, and now we're pressing the knee up and to the side. Up and to the side. And the other leg up, and resuming up and to the side. And the last exercise, a heavy swing low, knee up, same setup, press on the outside, and reopening slowly. Closing slowly. Down, and another time, knee up, press on the outside, and up slowly. And the other leg up. And press on the outside. And up again. And the next exercise, no exercise left, just next one apart, breathing it down. And breathing it out. Breathe in, cross the legs, and bring the hands up. Now, that was the medium plane training. I thank you very much, and until next time.